There comes a moment in your life when the noise around you gets so loud, so constant, that you almost forget the sound of your own heartbeat. People doubt you, they whisper, they laugh when you're not looking, and sometimes they throw your name around like it's worthless. But deep down, you know, your value was never for them to decide. The pain they caused, the rejection they gave, the doors they slammed in your face, those weren't meant to destroy you. They were meant to awaken you. Let me tell you something. The most dangerous person in the world is not the one who screams, not the one who threatens, not the one who pretends to hold power over you. The most dangerous person is the one who learns to be silent, the one who no longer argues, the one who no longer explains, the one who simply closes the door, locks it, and walks away. Because silence is not weakness. Silence is power. When you silence them and close that door, you're not just ending a chapter, you're writing an entirely new book. And the truth is, some people will never recover from losing access to you. There is a moment in life when walking away becomes your greatest act of courage. Not because you are afraid, not because you don't have the strength to fight, but because you finally realize that some battles are beneath you. You learn that engaging with every insult, every provocation, every attempt to drag you into chaos is a waste of the life you've been given. Walking away is not surrender, it is strategy. It is the ability to look at someone who wanted your energy, your attention, your fire, and refuse to hand it over. It is strength cloaked in silence, the kind of strength that shakes people to their core, because when they expect you to fight, when they expect you to argue, when they expect you to beg for your place, and instead you rise up, turn your back, and step forward without looking back, that is when you leave them speechless. That is when they realize they never had control over you in the first place. Walking away is not about leaving people behind, it's about reclaiming yourself. The power of walking away lies in the fact that it disrupts the narrative they created about you. They counted on your weakness, on your inability to detach, on your hunger for their approval. They built this quiet expectation that no matter how they treated you, you would always be there, loyal to the very pain they caused you. But when you finally decide to walk away, it is a betrayal to their illusion. And in that moment, the script they were writing collapses. They have no lines left, no stage left, no control left. And the beauty of it is that you don't even need to announce it. You don't need to post about it. You don't need to scream your decision. All you need to do is move in silence, close the door gently, and never return. That's when they'll understand the value of what they lost, because presence is always underestimated until absence arrives. Walking away is the shock they never thought they'd feel, and it cuts deeper than any argument ever could. When you walk away, you reclaim your time. Time that was once stolen by people who drained you, distracted you, and made you question your worth. Time that you can now pour into your growth, your healing, your future. You realize that every second spent justifying yourself to those who never wanted to understand you was a second wasted. Every moment spent fighting to be seen by people determined to stay blind was an opportunity lost. Walking away gives you back your hours, your days, your peace of mind. It creates space for you to breathe again, to listen to your own voice instead of the noise of critics and doubters. It teaches you that peace is not something they can give you, it's something you choose for yourself by stepping away from the chaos. And in that space, in that quiet, you discover who you truly are when you are not performing for their expectations or fighting for their approval. Walking away is the beginning of finally hearing your own heart clearly. There is also a deeper kind of respect that comes with walking away. People think respect is earned through fighting for your place, through forcing others to acknowledge your worth. But in truth, the greatest respect you'll ever command is when you don't fight at all. When you walk away, you declare that your value is not up for negotiation. You declare that your dignity is more important than winning an argument. You declare that your soul is too sacred to be dragged through mud just to prove a point. And here's the truth. People may mock you for leaving. They may say you're weak, but deep down they will respect the strength it takes to step away. Because anyone can throw a punch. Anyone can shout back. But it takes a rare kind of power to be able to look someone in the eye, smile, and turn your back without needing to say a word. Respect doesn't come from proving you're stronger. It comes from knowing you don't have to. Walking away is not just an action, it's a declaration of faith in your own future. It is saying, I believe that what's ahead of me is far greater than what's behind me. It is refusing to stay chained to situations, people, or environments that are no longer serving your growth. Too many people stay where they are because they fear the unknown. They cling to toxicity because it's familiar, and they accept pain because they think it's better than being alone. Walking away is proof that you trust the path ahead, even if you can't see the full picture yet. It is a leap of faith, a bold step into possibility. And the moment you take that step, doors you never imagined start to open. Walking away is not just leaving something behind. It is walking toward the greatness that has been waiting for you all along. The power of walking away also lies in the silence it creates. Silence makes people think. Silence makes people uncomfortable. Silence makes people replay everything they said, everything they did, every way they mishandled you. Because as long as you were arguing back, as long as you were present in the noise, they could pretend they were in control. But when you disappear, when your voice is gone, when your presence is removed, silence becomes their teacher. It becomes a mirror they cannot escape, a reminder of the gap your absence leaves. They will scroll back through their memories, searching for the moment they pushed you too far, for the words they cannot take back, for the actions they cannot undo. And that silence, that quiet reminder that they no longer have access to you, will haunt them longer than any speech ever could. Silence is not weakness, it is punishment without words. Walking away builds strength that can never be taken from you. Each step you take away from what hurt you is a brick laid in the foundation of a new life. At first, it feels shaky, it feels uncertain because leaving is never easy. But over time, as you walk further from the chaos, you feel lighter, you feel your spirit rise, you feel your clarity return. Walking away doesn't just protect you, it transforms you. It teaches you discipline because staying gone requires strength. It teaches you resilience because starting over requires faith. And it teaches you worth because every step forward reminds you that you are choosing yourself over the chaos they tried to trap you in. And that choice, choosing yourself, is the most powerful decision you will ever make. Walking away builds a version of you that can never be shaken again. What most people don't realize is that walking away often takes more courage than staying. Staying means settling. It means tolerating what breaks you. But walking away means standing up to the fear of the unknown. It means embracing loneliness for a while, trusting that solitude will heal you faster than company that destroys you. It means being willing to let go of comfort so you can step into greatness. And that kind of courage is rare. People will watch you walk away and think you gave up, but in reality, you chose bravery over bondage. You chose freedom over familiarity. You chose a future over a prison disguised as love, friendship, or opportunity. Walking away is not cowardice. It is courage at its highest level because it demands faith, resilience, and strength all at once. And the final truth about walking away is this: those who thought you would never leave, those who believed they could mistreat you without consequence, those who assumed you'd always be there, they will never recover when you finally walk away. Your absence will echo louder than your presence ever did. Your silence will speak in places your words never reached, and they will sit in the ruins of their arrogance, realizing too late that the one they underestimated was the one they should have cherished. Walking away is not revenge. It is justice. It is the universe's way of balancing the scales. And once you make that choice, once you lock that door, once you refuse to go back, their loss becomes permanent. They'll never recover, not because of what you did, but because of who you are. There comes a time when you must choose between proving your point and protecting your peace, and that choice will define the rest of your life. You can spend years trying to convince people who are committed to misunderstanding you, or you can rise above the noise and let your dignity speak louder than any argument ever could. The temptation to fight back, to defend yourself, to answer every insult with a response is strong, but it traps you in the cycle of their drama. And drama is designed to keep you low, keep you distracted, keep you locked in battles that strip you of your energy and your purpose. Dignity, on the other hand, is rising above. It is holding your head high, keeping your silence when necessary, and refusing to let anyone drag you into their storm. That is not weakness. That is strength in its purest form. Because dignity is not about winning in the moment. It's about preserving your character for the long run. And when the dust settles, people may not remember the argument, but they will remember the grace with which you carried yourself. Drama thrives on reaction. It feeds off your energy, your frustration, your need to prove yourself. The moment you take the bait, you've already lost because you've allowed someone else to dictate how you feel and how you respond. But when you choose dignity, you starve drama of its power. You take away its oxygen. You walk away from the argument not because you can't fight, but because you refuse to lower yourself to a battlefield that doesn't deserve you. That's what separates the wise from the foolish. The wise know that not every battle is worth fighting, not every comment deserves a response, and not every insult is worth your breath. The wise understand that your dignity is priceless. And every time you defend yourself to someone who doesn't care about the truth, you give away a piece of that dignity. But when you keep your silence, when you protect your energy, you leave them frustrated because drama can't survive without participation. And that right there is the victory. The power of dignity lies in control. Control over yourself, control over your emotions, control over your reactions. Because life will always bring people who test you, who try to provoke you, who want to see you break character. And if you lose yourself every time, if you allow anger and frustration to dictate your steps, then you're letting them win. But dignity is mastery. It's knowing how to stay calm when others are losing their temper. It's being able to walk through a storm without letting it change your character. That kind of self-control is rare, but it's also magnetic. People may not admit it, but they admire someone who refuses to be pulled into chaos. They admire someone who doesn't flinch when attacked, who doesn't crumble when criticized, who doesn't lash out when provoked. Dignity makes you untouchable because the world can throw stones, but they can't break what is guarded by discipline. And in the end, the one who controls their response controls the outcome. Choosing dignity over drama also protects your future. Drama is expensive. It costs you time, energy, and opportunities. It keeps you locked in the past, replaying words, replaying actions, replaying betrayals. But dignity is forward thinking. It's asking yourself, is this worth my destiny? Is this worth delaying my progress? Is this worth losing my peace? And when the answer is no, you step away. You focus on what truly matters, your growth, your goals, your calling. People who thrive on drama are always stuck, always circling the same issues, never building anything new. But people who choose dignity rise. They move forward, they break free. And the truth is, the higher you go, the less time you have for small arguments. The higher you go, the less oxygen drama can find. Dignity is what lifts you, it's what separates you, it's what makes sure you don't waste your destiny fighting with people who were never meant to come with you in the first place. Another thing about dignity, it makes silence powerful. Drama expects shouting, it expects retaliation. It expects you to play the game. But silence disrupts it. Silence forces people to face themselves. When you refuse to argue back, when you refuse to engage, you create a mirror they can't escape. They start replaying their words, their actions, their mistakes. And while they're drowning in their own chaos, you're standing still, untouched, unshaken. That silence is louder than any response you could have given. Because when you remain silent, you're not saying, I don't care. You're saying, I care too much about my peace, my dignity, my future to waste it here. And believe me, that silence will echo longer than any angry response. Silence is not the absence of power, it's the ultimate expression of it. Dignity over drama also teaches people how to treat you. If you keep reacting to every insult, if you keep engaging with every provocation, people will learn that all they need to do to control you is push the right buttons. But when you rise above, when you refuse to be moved by gossip, lies, or pettiness, you send a message. I cannot be controlled. That message is powerful because it forces people to treat you differently. It forces them to see that you are not to be played with, that your boundaries are firm, and that your dignity is not negotiable. People may not like it, but they will respect it. And respect is worth far more than approval. Approval is temporary, but respect is lasting, and it is earned when you consistently show that your character is stronger than their attempts to tear you down. Choosing dignity is not just about protecting yourself. It's about teaching the world what you will and will not tolerate. The beauty of dignity is that it always outlives drama. Drama burns fast and hot, but it also burns out quickly. The gossip fades, the lies are forgotten, the arguments lose their energy. But dignity leaves a lasting impression. People remember how you carried yourself, how you stayed calm, how you didn't let the chaos pull you down. They remember that while everyone else was losing control, you stood still, steady, unshaken. And in the long run, that's what builds your legacy. Nobody builds a legacy out of arguments and petty fights. Legacies are built on discipline, grace, and self-control. And dignity is at the core of all three. The storms will pass, but how you handle them will echo forever. That's why dignity is always worth more than drama. It lasts when everything else fades. Choosing dignity also frees you emotionally. Drama keeps you chained to bitterness, resentment, and anger. It makes you relive wounds over and over, keeping your heart in a cycle of pain. But dignity sets you free. When you decide not to engage, when you decide not to waste your emotions on petty battles, you release yourself. You create room for healing, room for joy, room for peace. And that freedom is priceless. Because the truth is, holding on to drama doesn't hurt the other person as much as it hurts you. You're the one carrying the weight. But when you choose dignity, you lay that weight down. You refuse to carry what was never yours to begin with. You choose yourself, your peace, your future. And nothing feels more liberating than that. And finally, dignity over drama leaves a mark on those who tried to bring you down. They may not admit it, but deep down, they will never forget the way you refused to stoop to their level. They will never forget that while they screamed, you stayed calm. While they lied, you stayed true. While they tried to trap you in chaos, you walked away with peace. That memory will haunt them because they expected a fight, but instead they got silence. They expected chaos, but instead they got composure. And that is something they will never recover from. Because drama may win for a moment, but dignity wins for a lifetime. There are wounds that cannot close as long as you remain in the place where they were created. There are scars that will never fade if you keep standing next to the people who caused them. Sometimes the only way to heal is not through another conversation, not through another apology, not through another attempt to fix what keeps breaking, but through distance. Distance is not abandonment, it is medicine. It is the moment you finally give yourself permission to step away from what is poisoning you. Because you cannot heal in the same environment that made you sick. You cannot recover while the very voices that tore you down are still echoing in your ears. And though it hurts to walk away, though it feels heavy to put space between you and what you once loved, that distance becomes the oxygen your soul has been craving. It's in that quiet separation where you rediscover your worth, where you begin to hear your own heart again, and where you realize healing is not about fixing them, it's about saving yourself. Distance brings clarity in ways that closeness never could. When you are too close to pain, too close to dysfunction, you can't see clearly. It feels normal because it is familiar. You excuse it because you're used to it. But the moment you step away, even just a little, your eyes begin to open. You start noticing patterns you ignored before. You start realizing how heavy the weight really was, and you start asking questions you never had the courage to ask. Why did I tolerate this for so long? Why did I keep accepting less than I deserved? Why did I confuse pain with love? And those questions are the beginning of healing, because healing starts with awareness. Distance gives you that awareness. It gives you perspective, like stepping back from a painting. Suddenly you see the whole picture instead of just the brush strokes. And once you see the truth, you cannot unsee it. That is when you begin to rise. Healing through distance also teaches you the art of solitude. Many people fear being alone because they mistake it for loneliness, but solitude is different. It is intentional, it is purposeful, it is healing. In solitude, you are no longer surrounded by voices telling you who to be. You are no longer clouded by opinions, manipulation, or criticism. In solitude, you get to face yourself. And though it may be uncomfortable at first, it is also freeing, because in that space, you begin to realize you are enough. You begin to rebuild your self-respect, your confidence, your identity. The noise of the world fades, and your own voice grows louder. And once you discover that you can stand on your own, you will never again settle for environments that make you feel small. Solitude is the teacher that shows you strength you didn't know you had. And distance is what makes that solitude possible. And this is what shapes our destiny. This is what makes me me. The hardest thing that Americans face is their own division. Distance also exposes the true intentions of others. When you step away, you see who respects your boundaries and who tries to break them. You see who values you enough to meet you where you are and who only valued the access they had to your energy. Distance draws a line in the sand, and how people respond to it reveals everything. Those who truly love you will honor your need for space. They will give you room to breathe. They will support your healing, even if it means they lose immediate access to you. But those who only wanted to use you will panic. They will push harder, manipulate harder, guilt you harder, because distance threatens their control. And in that reaction, you will finally see the truth. Some people never loved you. They loved what you gave them. And once you recognize that truth, healing becomes possible because you stop blaming yourself for their behavior. The healing power of distance also lies in the freedom it creates. As long as you are tied to unhealthy connections, your growth will always be limited. They will keep pulling you back into the same cycles, the same arguments, the same pain. But when you create distance, you free yourself from that loop. You create space for new opportunities, new people, new possibilities. You allow your heart to open to what is truly meant for you. And in that space, you realize that sometimes losing them was the gift you never knew you needed. Because as painful as it feels in the moment, distance often clears the path for blessings you could not have received if you stayed stuck. Freedom is not just the absence of chains. It is the presence of new doors. And distance is the key that unlocks them. Healing through distance also strengthens your spirit. Every step you take away from what hurts you builds resilience. At first, the space feels unbearable. You miss them. You second guess yourself. You wonder if you made the right choice, but with time, the ache fades and strength takes its place. You realize you can survive without them. You realize you can thrive on your own. You realize you don't need validation from the very people who broke you. And that realization is power. That realization is what allows you to walk into your future with confidence instead of fear. Distance doesn't just heal the wound. It rebuilds the warrior inside of you. It makes you stronger, wiser, and more protective of your peace than ever before. Distance also gives birth to forgiveness, not necessarily for them, but for yourself. When you step away, you have the space to look at your own decisions without judgment. You begin to forgive yourself for staying too long, for loving too much, for accepting too little. You realize that you did the best you could with the knowledge you had at the time, and now you know better. Distance allows you to release the shame, release the guilt, release the regret. And in that release, your heart softens. You don't carry bitterness anymore. You don't carry anger anymore because you no longer need to. Healing isn't about holding on to what they did. It's about freeing yourself from it. And distance is what makes that forgiveness possible. There is also peace that only distance can provide. When you are away from constant conflict, your body rests differently. Your mind clears. Your sleep deepens. You stop waking up with heaviness on your chest. You stop replaying old arguments in your head. You stop waiting for the next disappointment. Peace starts to feel normal again. And once you taste that peace, you will never want to return to the chaos. You will guard that peace fiercely because you know how much it cost you to find it. And that is what distance does. It removes you from the storm so you can finally rest in the calm. And in that calm, healing happens almost naturally. Your spirit finds balance, your heart begins to open, and your soul breathes again. And finally, distance becomes healing because it creates a new beginning. Walking away is not the end of your story. It's the start of a new chapter. It's the blank page where you get to write a life that is no longer defined by pain. It's the foundation where you get to build relationships that are healthier, stronger, more aligned with who you truly are. Distance doesn't mean you lost. It means you chose yourself. It means you finally decided that your peace, your growth, your happiness are worth more than staying in places that break you. And once you understand that, you will never look at distance as punishment again. You will see it for what it truly is. Healing disguised as separation. Freedom disguised as loss. And grace disguised as silence. Betrayal is one of the deepest cuts a human soul can endure. It doesn't come from strangers because strangers have no power to wound you like that. Betrayal comes from the people you trusted, the ones you gave your heart, your loyalty, your time, your secrets. It comes from the people you defended when no one else would, the ones you stood by when they had nothing, the ones you believed would never turn against you. And when they do, the pain is sharp, almost unbearable, because it shakes your sense of safety. It makes you question your judgment, your worth, your ability to trust. But here's the truth. You were not betrayed because you were weak. You were betrayed because you were strong enough to give, to love, to believe. And though it feels like a knife to the soul, betrayal is not the end of you if you let it. Betrayal becomes the beginning of your breakthrough. It becomes the fire that burns away the false so you can rise stronger, clearer, and unshakable. At first, betrayal feels like destruction. Everything you thought was solid suddenly crumbles. You look at people differently, you doubt their words, and you replay the betrayal in your head over and over. It's like an earthquake that leaves you standing in ruins, unsure of what can be rebuilt. But here's the hidden power. You cannot build a palace on shaky ground. Betrayal destroys illusions. It tears away the masks that people were wearing and forces you to see reality. And though it hurts, though it feels unfair, that destruction clears the path for truth. It clears away the people who were never truly with you, who smiled while plotting against you, who pretended to care while secretly rooting for your downfall. That destruction is painful, but it is necessary. Because how can you step into your destiny if you're still carrying those who don't belong in your future? Betrayal is painful, but it purifies your path. When you allow betrayal to teach you, it gives you wisdom that no book could ever offer. It sharpens your discernment, it makes your spirit sensitive, and it trains your eyes to see beyond words and appearances. Before, you may have been too trusting, too eager to believe everyone's intentions matched your own. But betrayal teaches you patience. It teaches you to watch actions more than words. It teaches you to listen not just to what people say, but to what they don't say. And that kind of wisdom becomes your shield. It protects you from future traps, from manipulators, from users who only come to take. You stop ignoring red flags. You stop silencing your intuition. And once you embrace that wisdom, you carry yourself differently. You're not bitter, but you're sharper. You're not paranoid, but you're prepared. Betrayal forces you to grow, and that growth is the foundation of your breakthrough. Another way betrayal turns into breakthrough is by shifting your focus back to yourself. Sometimes you invest so much energy into others, building them up, protecting them, loving them, that you forget to pour into yourself. Betrayal snatches that distraction away. Suddenly you're left alone with yourself. And that is not a curse. It's a gift. In that solitude, you rediscover parts of yourself you neglected. You pour your time into your goals, your healing, your dreams. You stop wasting your strength on people who only drained it, and you start investing it into becoming the best version of yourself. Betrayal redirects your energy. It says, no more building kingdoms for others who never valued you. Build your own. And when you do, you realize that the betrayal didn't end you. It freed you. It freed you from pouring into people who were never pouring into you. It freed you to finally become everything you were meant to be. Betrayal also ignites a fire inside you. Pain has a way of awakening strength you didn't know existed. Betrayal hurts, yes, but it also fuels determination. You begin to tell yourself, I will not let this break me. I will not let them win. I will rise, and I will rise so high that their betrayal will look like the very push I needed. And suddenly the betrayal that was supposed to destroy you becomes the motivation